Okay, so we just introduced controllers and we just created our home controller. Now you can see we just have a class of request, right? So let's just discuss what is a request. So if I just open up my web.php, right, and let me just create a method here. For example, public function index here, and then for example written home at the moment. And if I just go to web.php and then say, and now this time I'll use a controller instead of closure. Route would be, for example, contact, let's say, for example, or you can make it home, and the name of the controller in our case would be home controller. And yeah, and what next? Inside our home controller we just have a method called index, and we want to use index method in our home link, right? Okay, so let's just go to browser and then visit home. There we go. This is basically from controller. Okay, let's just work with, I think let's just change it with store. Okay, let's just make it index. Okay, if I just say written the get request, for example, name here, and then if I just go to home and then slash name and my name, for example, there we go, right? We are just getting the name. Basically Laravel provides us a request class. This is a completely that basically handles all the requests in our application. So how we use it, we simply need to bind it in our method, and behind the scenes Laravel just handle all this stuff, right? And if we just say dd stands for in Laravel that is for die and dump, and if we that basically kills the page, and then it will not run codes after dd. You can just use them in your views as well. We'll use it. Okay, so if we just say request all and then go to browser, reload the page. Okay, we are just getting all this stuff from an array, but if we just die in them only request, there we go. And request is a completely class. You can see it has a closures, right? It has a route resolvers, many things, many extra stuff. Request that we have exactly the name, right? And then query, for example, if you want to check, and then server, cookies, files, and then most important, the header information, right? The host that we are using is localhost 8000, and the connection, right? Cache, and all this stuff that are inside, or that handles basically the request class, and it's pretty powerful. Okay, so if you just say, for example, this is my name, and if I want to, okay, get all, reload the page, there we go. And we can also pass, for example, your pass, that is 1 2 3. There we go. You can just pass, and you can just pass anything, right, if you want to. There we go, right? So basically request handle all this stuff, right? And then for example, we can, instead of all, this is basically all this method, we can also say, for example, name, just get the name, and we'll just see what happens. There we go, we are just getting them. And what if we just remove dd, die and dump, and instead of we say written, okay, the written is the name, okay. And if you want to, because we just have the name, the pass, and email in our get request, so we can say just get the pass, and we can also say just get the email. Okay, written could work only once, so we need to echo them. There we go. Okay, that's working perfectly. And we can also say, for example, route get the name. Okay, it's getting the name. And in the next parameter we can also say if for example user does not provide name, so we can say not provided, right? let's just add a new name. There we go, it's working. And if you just get rid of name, there we go, not provided. And we can also make it null instead of not provided. Right, so I think you just understand the main idea of request. That's very useful and very helpful, and we will completely use this functionality, the request object, in our upcoming videos, in our project. Mostly you will just understand when we start working on our project, you will understand what is request, right? So I think this is enough at the moment. And in the next video we might discuss more about the submitting forms using the request object. Okay.